Okay, so this was game 4, which was SY map pack, and we're back to 3v3. I'm just gonna tab out and have a little look as if that was kind of mandated by the settings, but it wasn't. So it was actually supposed to be 4v4, so maybe a player had to go. Or perhaps to start off with, the players played some games as 3v3 first, like maybe they did game, I don't know, that could have been an issue, but let's see which players we've got. I guess one of the Yannick must have had to go, or who's missing for Chinese team? It seems like 2 players have gone for Chinese team as well. Um, we're missing Lang and Q, but now we've got Fang Jiaqui. So a bit of a reshuffle here. Right, let's see. We've got Vodka, Mayan Flank. He played exceptionally well as Mayan Flank in the previous game, so he'll be hoping to repeat that. Versus Persian Flank. That's quite interesting. Mayan's obviously the much stronger flank civ. Pockets, Fang Jiaqi Mongols versus Dark Devil Vikings. I'll come to that in a moment. And Melkor Huns. I think he's been Huns in every game, which is quite expected since I think he's quite like Huns Arabia would be one of his strongest settings from what I know about him. Although I don't know his play like too well. Fengjin Mayan Flank. So Huns v Mayan Flank. That's not terribly mismatched, but as we saw in the first game, what happened to Melkor when he was Mayan Flank, and basically the Mayan went Imperial Age faster than him. He got stuck in the Castle Age and he just got stomped basically because that Mayan early Imperial Age is so powerful, and the Huns, especially if they're stuck in the Castle Age, there's just very little they can do against it. But the most interesting thing in this game, Mongol pocket over here for the Chinese team, Viking pocket for Dark Devil. Now the reason why we see Vikings for Dark Devil is almost certainly because the 13th Legion will basically know that there are plenty of water maps in the SY map pack, and they wanted a Viking on their team to prepare for that eventuality. And of course Vikings can always sling, but the problem is if you get Vikings on a land map and it goes to late game, you're in trouble because they more or less can't do anything. So it's be interesting to see what approach Dark Devil takes here. Like, does he sling? It could work, but of course it's kind of it could potentially be quite risky as well. And this isn't telling me the map name, but I think it's like Sahara possibly because you've got this desert in the middle. I think that's what it's called. But anyway, it seems more or less like Arabia, apart from the fact that the middle is open. Like the outside edge is almost entirely sort of like dry Arabia, like perhaps a little bit more heavily wooded, but it's not. I guess we're going to see a style of game which is similar to what we've seen already, especially the what we saw in game 1. Besides the fact that the civs are different. So let's have a look. Vodka, there's nothing. It's a little bit too early to see exactly if drushes are going to be coming up first, but you'd imagine they would be. We'll probably see players dropping a barracks in the next 30 to 60 seconds if they're planning on drushing. Okay, Melkor is drushing as Huns, which pretty much versus Mayans is essential. Like if you did scouts against Mayan Drush FC crossbow, then you'd probably be in quite a lot of trouble. Unless your scout rush did extreme damage, but a basic sort of scout rush doesn't really tend to kill off players just by itself. at this level of play, in a team game especially. Over here, Vodka Barracks perhaps coming up tiny bit late, but it's no big deal. He's doing a Drush versus Persian doing Scouts by the looks of it. He's splitting his lumber camp, so this is, or is about to split his lumber camp, so we're probably going to see him doing Scouts almost certainly with this build. Still got a good number of sheep in under the TC. I don't know if he really pushed a deer or not. He's only got 3 deer. Let's have a look at some of the other players. See if they started with... No, it may only be 3 deer. But certainly, I feel like Vodka will have the tactical advantage if he does Drush FC crossbow against Persians doing Scouts. Melkor going for a full wall with his Drush. Or well, at least a partial wall anyway. The Drush of Melkor and Paladin are going to meet over here. It seems like Melkor got the better of that. He possibly had patrolled in and Paladin hadn't. So that's one militia going down for Paladin straight away. This one... Yeah, Melkor needs to be careful not to lose his scout, but he's come out of the Drush War victorious. The only thing is he's going to have like 1.5 militia left at the end of it, and it's, you know, that's going to minimise the amount of harassment he can actually do with it. Like, those militia will go down to just being nuisance value rather than having the ability to potentially pick off a villager. Full wall coming up for Fang Zhao as Mongol pocket, so let's see what he decides to do. He may do 1 stable and boom a bit, or he may do 2 stable knights. Like, for me personally, like, if I... Oh, what's going on? Those must be Drush skeletons. Tell me they're Drush skeletons. Let's have a look at Moonlight's villager numbers. Down to 20 villagers. He must have lost a couple of vills in amongst that. Whilst looking at the other Drush that was going on. I wish I'd seen that. And he lost his scout as well when he's doing scouts. Losing 2 villagers on the way to Few Village and losing your scout to a Drush when you're trying to scout rush, that is really catastrophic. I mean, I can't be sure that is exactly what happened, but it looked like it. In fact, he must have lost 1 villager plus his scout because he's got death score of 2, so not as catastrophic as it could have been, but certainly hugely disadvantageous. Okay, Melkor's last militia going down, whilst Paladin still has one, but really at this point he's got 1 militia and it's not going to do anything. It's miles away from the enemy bases. At least Feng Jin still... Oh, sorry, at least Fang Zhao still has his scout. I'm trying to see if Melkor's lost his, but he's probably doing like Drush FC crossbow or cav archer, so...
Yes.
I think he'll be okay because it doesn't look like Paladin's play will be more or less the same, like Drush FC crossbow or cav archer, so he's not going to be getting any kind of nasty surprise as a result of losing his scout. Paladin did lose a villager there trying to wall up. That was quite a nice pick up by Dark Devil, and he's running away with his scout still on 4 HP. And they're both feudal age, so there's going to be no speed discrepancy there, and he should be able to save that scout, except for the fact that he's fully walled, so that scout won't be getting back in, and he'd probably have to run to his allies' town centre to save it. Moonlight with scouts from the Persian flank, as we said, but he's doing it minus his initial scout and minus a villager. And Vodka has completely walled everything, so they're going to do nothing. And now we're in a situation where you have gone scouts, you've lost a villager, and your opponent is doing Drush FC crossbows, and you're going to be in a world of hurt unless you wall everything very fast. But that's exactly what Moonlight's doing. Stone walls everywhere, but really, like, that's going to be all the stone he needs. Like between those two, like will be a lot of stone, or nearly all the stone for like 2 TCs. So he's going to have to get some stone from somewhere else if he wants to then drop TCs when he gets to Castle Age. And I'd suggest that is what he's probably going to do if he's walling up, because I doubt he's going to get into a crossbow war with a Mayan player as a Persians. Because that's not really the most promising proposition in the long term, because of the Mayan cheaper archers, and they want to trek into archers in the late game, where Persians don't really want to do that at all, and can't really do it very well with the technology tree that they have. Oh, Melkor with 2 stables. So is he going double stable knights from the flank? I guess he could be getting sling from Dark Devil. Dark Devil stone walls market. So, and no blacksmith, so he's not going Castle Age, he's staying Feudal Age, and he's going to sling. So basically this complexion of this game is Dark Devil, sling from pocket with Vikings to Melkor, Hun's flank. And on here, Mayans versus Persians, with Mayans in the better position for now. And slung Huns could be hard for Mayans to deal with, perhaps, but at least they're getting full wall. This is ridiculous amounts of walling and lots of villagers' time and stone walls, but like, he wants to survive, so basically it's a good idea.
Yes.
I'm going to go on to Melkor's point of view so that we can see the resources trickling in from Dark Devil. Some archers soon to be crossbows for vodka moving out, sending 1 spear with them. I guess he's thinking that some scouts from Moonlight could be on the map, and also he could be encountering a knight or 2 from pocket. Oh, I see why we keep hearing yes in the background. It's because of the 1 in Dark Devil's name when he slings Melkor. That's really irritating. I think I might switch to Dark Devil's point of view so we don't hear the yeses when he sends the resources, but we can still see when he's sending them, I think. Melkor's starting to pour out the double stable knights now, but also getting a TC, so not sacrificing his economy whilst receiving the sling. Also Siege Workshop, because he's probably seen those stone walls at this point and knows he's not getting in. In fact, he hasn't, but he's probably just assuming that he's going to need the siege to do damage quickly anyway, and he's found the stone walls now, so he's going to assume that it's just completely and utterly fully stonewalled, which indeed it is. How is Persia doing over here? Looks like still not going to Castle Age for another minute or so, which is going to leave him miles behind versus Vodka if he drops TCs anytime soon, but at the moment he hasn't done that. Probably is going to be.
Yes.
Sorry, back to the game now, just a brief interruption. So we see Fang Jiao Qi going camels with his stables, because he's basically just doing that to protect against the slung knights of Melkor. Like the Chinese team will have presumably scouted Dark Devil, seeing that he's fully walled and know what's up at this point. I will have a look at that in a second, just see what's going on here. Nothing too much, just knights hitting a stable. Few of Fang Jiao Qi's camels being attacked but not killed by Bodka's spears and crossbows. Let's see if Fang Jiao Qi... Who has scouted this? Has anyone scouted the stone walls of Dark Devil 4? No, but I don't think they need to, because they will just be looking at Dark Devil still being in the feudal age as Vikings, and they know what's up. And they'll also be looking at what Melkor is doing, like seeing how that he's getting a lot of knights as flank and realising that Sling 2 looks like Paladin will just go with double monastery monk defense, and maybe that means Hang Jiao is going to stop making camels, I don't know, and focus on his boom. Like, he's going to lose those stables anyway, potentially, if the monks of Paladin don't force those knights away, but that stable was almost certainly going down. There's not a quick reaction. Yeah, so it seems that the strategy of the Chinese team is basically just to get counters for what Melkor is doing, and then just maybe try and boom a bit and sort of get to the point where the sling becomes a non-issue, because they've got fully boom players themselves. They definitely want Fang Jiao as the Mongols to boom, as it seems like he's stopped producing military, just making more walls. Like, initially it seemed that he was going to be the one tasked with combating the slung knights of Melkor, but now that responsibility seems to have passed over to Paladin. The Chinese have kind of changed tack and just said, okay, Fang Jiao, you're the Mongol player, you want elite Mangudai on the field in 15 minutes time or whatever, just boom. And Paladin is going to hold out for now, but he needs more than this. Like, 5 monks, doesn't have a mangonel yet, and he's got two mangonels bashing around, 10 knights, 10 crossbows, like just hammering down the door. This isn't going to work. He needs more. At least he's got more monks coming in, but yeah, definitely needs at least Siege Workshop and some mangonels to go with the monks. Melkor is on 2 stables, so he's not going up to say 3 stables as you fairly often see when players are getting sling. He's just focusing on his economy as well, which is I think it's a smart move. Like, you can't go all in against a team that's walling and defending with monks and stuff, because you'll just waste the resources that you pour into knights if you're not actually focusing on your economy as well. Fang Jiao did still have a few camels on the field, but he's lost them now. Well, 2 left. So, 13th Legion are in. That was a potentially devastating mangonel shot, but the crossbows turned back just in time. Not too many went down. But as I said, the Paladin needed mangonel elves, and he's got one now, at least. But will he see this in time? Yep, he moves out the way. Both mangonels almost being picked up, but not quite. But that will be it. Is it 1 for 1? Yeah, 1 for 1. So, but that doesn't matter so much for Paladin, because like, he doesn't need to push out. He just needs rid of that mangonel. So, felt like 1 for 1, potentially a little bit better trade for Paladin, just because he wants to defend and let his partner over here just boom. Some like interior re-walling. Oh no, that's not interior re-walling. This is a new wall over here. So I think they just want to take control of this area. Obviously, the extra gold is going to be really important, and like later on trade across there perhaps as well. So they just want to start building up in this area. Melkor getting cheeky and just going to start taking the probably 3rd gold of vodka, and there's nothing that Paladin can do about that, so he's probably going to have to make do with 2 golds for this game if Melkor starts mining that with a decent number of villagers. Paladin does now have a castle, which is good for defending, and because obviously he will want to probably get elite plumed archer and later on in the game, but I don't see him probably doing plumed archers yet, because it won't do very well against all of this. I'm surprised that he didn't do the castle just in a slightly different spot, because it's not really protecting resources from him besides a few woodcutters. Like this, cause particularly considering he's now lost his 3rd gold for the time being. Might have expected him to try to protect this gold. The only issue with that is, of course, is Melkor is going to be up to the Imperial Age because he's getting sling much faster, and he can make one treb and just treb that down from the hill, but that's just as vulnerable. Over here, Melkor and Vodka still trying to get in, but there's a stone wall here and a castle, so they're not really going to get in there at all. All Fang Zhao needs is one mangonel here to just deny all those rams from breaking through the stone wall. So I'd say at the moment the Chinese team is like handling the sling fairly well because it's just not getting into bases. Like they're having to spend resources making the correct things to push the slung armies away from the walls, but like they're doing fine. They're not taking any damage from it, and all three are building up their economies and trying to either build an army or they're kind of like with the aim of moving into an army, whereas the longer the game goes on and Dark Devil is still feudal age, it may not work to 13th Legion's advantage in the end. Like if all three players, like Mongols, Mayans and Persians, if all of those are in the Imperial Age, then that's going to be really dangerous. If there's basically only two players with 200 population and whatever for the 13th Legion. Just want to have a little look at what Moonlight's doing. He's on 4 town centres with Persian, so he's going to be booming up pretty fast. Like he was slow to begin with because he went to the Castle Age late and he did those scouts that didn't really work out for him. But now he's massively out booming everyone because he's literally been free booming the whole game. Vodka has gone into crossbows to support Melkor, but like they haven't achieved anything, and he didn't add town centres very quickly himself. He's on 3 at the moment, but he's 40 villagers behind Persians, which you kind of expect, but also wouldn't, just because he was a lot faster to the Castle Age. Paladin halfway to being done for Melkor. He's not actually started to mine that gold yet. He's done the TC and then just built farms there, which is quite amusing. You'd think he'd prioritise taking the gold and do the farms at home, but second castle for Fang Zhao. He's still in the Castle Age, but he's about to hit Imperial and he needs those castles to get the Mangudai production up.
Yes.
One mangonel for one mangonel. That one is potentially worse for Paladin because those rams are now going to get in. You know, there's lots of Mangudai there and they do well against rams, but 5 capped rams and versus 5 Mangudai, that castle could go down before siege ram now coming in from Melkor. So this is the first time that you've been legitimately able to say that the slung army for 13th Legion is actually about to get in and do some real damage. Right, those crossbows can kill the Mangudai anyway, and those siege rams will take down the castle in no time. And that could be really dangerous for the Chinese team because like part of their strategy seems to have been like saying to Paladin, okay, you turn the sling away from our walls and then we'll let Mongols boom and Mongols get elite Mangudai and then GG. But that's not what's happening. Mongols are about to be in a world of trouble. Their base is about to be full of paladins, siege rams and crossbows, and they have 4 Mangudai and 1 castle, and another one which is being built but which will go down almost instantly probably if those siege rams reach it. So Fang Zhao is looking in enormous trouble, and the 13th Legion situation is looking very promising at the moment. Some decent quick walls here at least, giving the chance to stop these paladins from just getting in here and just running right. But there is a one tile gap like I thought there was, but have to think that this castle is going down soon. Fang Zhao is losing an enormous amount of villagers. He's about to lose this Mangonel. Meanwhile, nothing much going on with Paladin. He's still in the Castle Age. He's still only on 80 villagers. He hasn't clicked up. So he can't deal with this. Like, he's Castle Age Mayans and his pocket is being killed by Paladins and Siege Rams. So what's he going to do? Unless he's got like 100 monks, but realistically, you're not going to save your opponent with just monks. If save your pocket with just monks. Over here, finally something is actually happening. Moonlight has just been free booming the whole game after initially being slow. He's on 130 fills, but only 10 Cavaliers for now. Paladin coming in, along with plate barding, armor, husbandry. So he can fight Mayans quite well once he gets Paladin, but the problem is that Mayans has a head start on him. In terms of the push, 2 castles on this hill is going to be hard to get rid of. Actually, a 3rd castle. So barracks as well. So I guess Vodka's adding Halberdier to try and combine the paladins that are going to start flooding out of Moonlight's base. So I think even though Vodka was kind of slow behind the boom of the Persian player, Moonlight, he doesn't really need such a big boom, and as long as he maintains a good balanced composition with Halberdier as well as his plumed archers and just starts trimming stuff, then he'll be fine, especially as he's got that kind of 3 castles on the hill to run back to. I mean, castles don't shred paladins, but 3 of them on a hill do. So looks like Feng Jin though is going with the old Mayan paladin strategy, aka the Steel Melkor's paladin strategy, and just like in the arena game where he ended up with an army of paladins and conquistadors as Aztecs, he's now got an army of paladins as Mayans, and once again it's Melkor's paladins and in the previous game it was conquistadors. Melkor's units that he's stealing. And he's going to go Halberd as well, just to try and deal with the amount of paladins that Melkor's throwing up, but Fang Zhaoqi is dead, pretty much. 36 villages, 26 of which are idle, most of which are hiding in this town centre, and it's more or less at this point you would say it's 2v3. He's run some vills to here, but that's an obvious place to look if the that they've got access to there, and that's just an obvious place to look because he will have either run to Paladin's base or he will have run to this corner, because the 13th Legion will be going there to check for trade anyway, potentially later on. At least Moonlight is cleaning it up a bit so that these villagers might be able to start working, but yeah, Fang Zhaoqi is dead.
Yes.
He's got no resources, got no population, and let's see, Vodka 50 military, few halberdiers here, but these villagers are, those paladins will kill all that, so he doesn't really want to aggro those paladins. That castle is going to be quite nice, because it's just going to surround with paladins on the with castles on the hills. Fang Zhaoqi's going mental. He wants these 3 paladins cleaned with them. Look at all these X's going out on the minimap. He's saying there's 3 paladins here and they're going to kill all my villagers. I just want you to get rid of them with your own paladins. But now Moonlight, because of the amount of X's by Fang Zhaoqi, he's almost overreacting and sending 30 paladins to deal with 10. When I'd say that he probably is going to need some of those paladins in his own base fairly soon. Meanwhile, Vodka's also helping Melkor push on the opposite side of the map. Paladin was doing Halberdier to just go up against Halberdiers and monks to go up against the pure paladins of Melkor, but if there are plumed archers for Vodka, then that's just not going to work. So this is quite an intelligent crossover by Vodka. He can still start to push on the other side with some plumes and some halbs and some trebs, and then afford to send some extra plumes to the far side just to make sure that Melkor's push doesn't falter because of Paladin countering it. So right now, I'd say that 13th Legion are looking good value to pick up another game and take us to a decider in this best of 5, which is going to be really exciting. But I don't want to say that too early in case they Titanic, but really it's looking good for them. Yeah, GG. There we go. As soon as it ends, I'll just take a really quick look at the achievements. I need to wait for them all to resign. Fang Zhaoqi losing everything, that's basically the story of the game. The sling worked quite well because basically, although Paladin did stuff to counter the sling, Melkor didn't kind of waste his units trying to be stubborn and pushing anyway. He just went to the pocket as soon as he got Imperial Age. Vodka supported him with the right unit because the main thing that the Chinese team was trying to stop 13th Legion with were monks and pikemen and later halbs. So as long as Vodka had a few crossbows and then later plumes, like he could destroy everything that would have countered Melkor's paladins. So that was quite an intelligent combined play from 13th Legion, and they just went in and just wrecked Fang Xiaoqi. They almost wiped him off the map, and that's basically GG. It's 2v3 at that point. Sure, the third player is slinging, but still 2v2 with the one pair being slung and the other pair not being. That's still a win. And also, the Chinese team would never have had any safe trade in that game. So game over. Let's go to the fifth game. Well done to the 13th Legion for pulling this series back from 0-2 to 2-2. Everyone who said I was spoiling the result in the previous game with what I was saying has been proven wrong. I told you I didn't know what was going on, so trying to second guess me, you failed. Man.